More than 50 years ago, on a night that seemed completely ordinary, science journalist Jim Sullivan left his small apartment and never returned. No one heard any cries for help. There were no signs of violence. No note was left behind to explain his departure, only silence marking the beginning of one of the most mysterious disappearances in the history of science journalism. Jim Sullivan was not an unfamiliar name in investigative circles. He was known for pursuing stories that existed beyond the safe boundaries of mainstream science. Unpublished research programs, concealed experiments, and phenomena explained only by the words classified were the world Jim stepped into every day. Inside his apartment, police discovered audio tapes, notebooks densely filled with writing, and hundreds of newspaper clippings neatly cut out and pinned across the walls. Those records suggested that Jim was tracing a dangerous chain of events, secret meetings, remote locations, notes that ended abruptly mid-thought, as if the writer had been interrupted. The tape recorder on his desk stopped in the middle of an unfinished recording, leaving behind a gap that would never be filled. Jim Sullivan was last seen driving out of the city at dusk. No one knew where he was going. His car was later found on a deserted stretch of road, showing no signs of an accident. A roadside motel confirmed that someone matching his description had rented a room that night. The room was discovered in a strange condition. Belongings left unpacked, luggage partially open, as if the occupant had stepped away for only a few brief seconds. The search quickly expanded into the surrounding desert. There, investigators discovered tire tracks that ended abruptly in the sand. There were no footprints leading away from the vehicle, no signs of dragging or struggle. The desert wind continued to blow, grain by grain, slowly erasing what little evidence remained, turning the scene into an empty question. Before long, the case was enveloped in silence. Investigation files were sealed. Certain documents were classified. People who had once worked with Jim avoided questions or simply no longer wished to remember. The newsroom where he had once contributed gradually shut down, taking with it stories that were never published. Over time, Jim Sullivan became a name suspended between fact and speculation. Some theories suggest he uncovered something connected to secret research programs, something dangerous enough to force his disappearance. Others believe he had been under surveillance for months before he vanished. There are also those who think Jim chose to leave the world on his own terms, either to protect himself or to keep a truth hidden that could not be revealed. But 50 years have passed, and no evidence has ever been strong enough to close the case. All that remains is a wristwatch frozen at an unknown moment, reports faded by time, and a question still hanging in history. How did Jim Sullivan disappear? And what did he see before leaving the world as we know it? If you want to continue joining us on a journey into unsolved mysteries, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to look forward to the next episode. The Flannan Isles Lighthouse. 3 lighthouse keepers who vanished without a trace.